Good afternoon. This is Wayne Albright, and this will be another installment of Let's Discuss Weather. It is Monday, January 19th, 2026. I have not been on in a while, but the weather hasn't really been that bad. There was a little bit of winter weather and precipitation over the weekend, especially across Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. But things are going to change here as we head this week into next week. Now, while it might seem like there's not much going on now, that should remain the case this week, actually, through Friday. But don't be deceived, there will be uh, some consternation, I will say, as we head through the week. And certainly, social media will be out of control. And that's unfortunate, but we need to take things slow and take things and realistically here. So here's the what's going to be happening here. It's going to be a relatively quiet week weather-wise for the Mid-Atlantic and most of the East. There'll be intermittent snow showers to the north, Great Lakes into the northeast, but no major precipitation expected through the balance of the week. Temperatures averaging near normal, but that does not mean there won't be ups and downs. It will be cold to start this week, as it has moderated a little bit this afternoon. But a cold night coming up and a cold day on Tuesday, and then moderation come by Thursday. And then the weekend has a possible winter storm. But that may be only Virginia to North Carolina and South Carolina. The battle of the models will likely continue the next few days, and there remains a lot of uncertainty as to specifics for the amount of snow and ice and where that would occur. And then very cold and dry early next week behind any storm system. I will start off at the back end of the weather and come back to now and go forward from there. So let's go to here. If you're expecting a warm-up of significance the rest of this month, you are going to be very disappointed. The west coast will be warmer than normal. The east coast will be colder than normal and generally drier than normal. But again, that does not mean there can't be a precipitation event of significance at some point at day 8 to 14. But right now, the bulk of the precipitation looks like it's going to be coming this weekend. The MJO is in phase 6. And when I look at that, I say it should be warming up big time outside across the country. As you can see, as you can see from the typical December, January phase 6, the eastern part should be warming up. The west should be cooling down. However, that is not the case. Now, it will be moderating this week while we're in phase 6. We are certainly not going to have a blowtorch. And there will be a trend toward colder as we enter phase 7 this weekend. As we can see here, it is supposed to curve back into phase 7 by the weekend. So colder is coming. The PNA will be, while it's crashing now, it has peaked at positive and it will be crashing toward neutral. But it has brought a lot of cold air into Western Canada. So while it does trend toward neutral and bring more of a zonal flow this week, it goes right back up into positive and locks this pattern back in with cold air while the NAO trends from positive to negative. So all of this, the phase 7, possibly phase 8 MJO, a continuing generally PNA of positive, and a returning negative NAO signals colder weather, at least for the next 2 weeks into early February. So let's go back to right now. What is happening now is not much. There's some scattered snow showers up in the mountains of Pennsylvania, New York, and back east of the lakes, typical of cold advection over the lakes. Said it time and time again. That corridor gets it all the time in the colder months, and today is no different. It extends down into portions of West Virginia. And there's a little bit of precipitation out here in Arkansas. There'll be some, I guess that's a cold advisory or a freeze watch down here in Georgia and North Florida. And some gusty winds on the marine, but and that may intensify behind this cold front. We can see temperatures this afternoon in the upper 20s to low 30s up in Pennsylvania, trending to the lower 40s to upper 40s across North Carolina, and maybe a few low 50s in South Carolina. But a lot of clear sky up here in the Mid-Atlantic, especially Maryland on south, and partly cloudy weather across Pennsylvania. I suspect some of that, if I look at this, might be snow on the ground up here in eastern Pennsylvania. So that may be what that is showing there, but otherwise there's just a lot of clouds in the mountains and east of the lakes. So where are we headed from here? I'll use the GFS to do this through this week. We're here right now. Secondary cold front will come through tonight, ushering in another round of cold, dry air by the morning. And then high pressure returns Tuesday and Wednesday. A cold night tonight as temperatures drop after sunset and especially after midnight. As we can see on this map here, temperatures behind and out in the Ohio Valley in the Midwest are only in the teens this afternoon and 20s. So there's a cold night coming up. And then the high builds across and provides dry weather on Wednesday. A little bit return to seasonable values in the 40s and 30s north, 40s south, with a lot of sunshine, probably some clouds in the typical areas of up north in Pennsylvania, New York State, Maryland, from time to time. But farther south, the more sun you will see. The next front is organizing in the Ohio Valley and has moisture gathering in the southern states, western Gulf states. Some of that breaks up, and moderating trend with west-southwest winds by Thursday should provide us with the warmest day of the week ahead of that system. Meanwhile, an true Arctic front is right here. I will draw it on here. True Arctic front is probably like right here somewhere, maybe off by a little bit, but that's where the true Arctic cold front is, and that will be pushing cold air. Let's see how I get out of this now. And pushing cold air, very cold air, farther to the south and east. And Texas, you're in for a rude awakening. Gone are the days of the 70s and 80s in Dallas and Oklahoma City, as the cold air plows to the south, all the way south of Brownsville. And the cold air spreads to the east and then comes into the mid-Atlantic across the mountains. It's usually very deep out here in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, and has difficulty getting very deep, at least initially, east of the mountains, and that will prove to be a problem as we head into the weekend. This is not an unusual thing to happen in a La Nina. We've seen it in the past couple of years with La Ninas and ice events and snow events in the south, and Arctic air coming in to the northern plains and the Midwest, especially into February. But it will pose some problems as we head into the weekend, as precipitation gathers across the south and the Arctic push. The true Arctic air mass doesn't arrive until Friday evening or Friday night in most of the eastern part of the United States, or south of from Pennsylvania south, and that sets up this weekend. We will go to the models here, and I will have to go back and show the differences. So by Saturday morning, Come on. All right. The European is dry, but the GFS has precipitation continuing to spread east to west or west to east across the south. And that trend continues. Oh, I'm back on the European again. Okay, it continues on the GFS. This is the problem, jumping back and forth. So here's by Saturday afternoon. That's the European again. How did that happen? All right, let's do this again. Okay, GFS. Okay, so here's Saturday afternoon on the GFS. There's Saturday afternoon on the European. It's slower. So if we go to the GFS on by Saturday night at midnight, this is the GFS. Any precipitation is starting to head off the coast, while the European is just now getting precipitation to arrive into the mid-Atlantic. So the systems on the model seem about 12 hours off, with the GFS faster and the European slower. Again, that's Saturday night at midnight, and this is Saturday night at midnight on the European. So that by Sunday afternoon, the GFS has it gone. The European is beginning to slow down. So again, it's about 12 hours slower. The other thing you'll notice is how far north the precipitation got in the European during this whole storm, while in the GFS, the intense precipitation, or the bulk of the precipitation, is farther south. So those are keys to this. And again, it will depend on how deep this cold air is and the push of the cold air east of the mountains, which is typically a little lagged in Arctic air masses that come out and spread from west to east from the plains to the northeastern part of the United States. And that sometimes leads to a little bit more of a northern trend in low pressure systems that go off the southeast and spreads precipitation a little farther north. We can see some of that trend if we look at the GEFS. Here's the GEFS. Okay, this is the snowfall, and you can see the models 2 days ago started with the bulk of precipitation, or the bulk of the snow fall, heaviest snow, across North Carolina, southern North Carolina, southeast North Carolina. But the trend has been to the north in the last day, that it's now concentrating up toward southern Pennsylvania or southern Virginia and spreading snow farther to the north, where it was not that pronounced before. Meanwhile, the European ensembles have been consistent, or more consistent, for the last day or so with the trend. So we go from there last night, and now it's centering on the same spot that it was before, across central and southern Virginia for the heaviest snow. And you can see it again in the freezing rain as well. Here is the the European. Trend has been pretty steady, but I bet if I go to the GFS or GEFS and the freezing rain, which I don't think they have on here, but I think it would show the same trend as the snowfall, pushing it farther to the north. So the keys are how cold and how much cold air comes in with this Arctic cold, with the storm. Timing. We have 12-hour differences in models right now between the GFS and the European. GFS is faster and farther south. The European is slower and farther north. So where is the exact axis of heaviest precipitation? And, what are the temperatures? I mean, if it's really cold, you can get really efficient snowfalls, and where it looks like you might get 6 to 12 inches, you get 12 to 18 inches because of snow ratio. So all these things come together as far as how much snow and or ice occur. We need to know where the battle zone will be and how far north any ice would get of significance, because there's always a mix of something, especially in the South. Virginia is common for that, and North Carolina, snow mixes with sleet and freezing rain all the time. So we're still so far out that we need to understand what is going on and follow the trends here in the models. So we can see some of that, and these are models. Okay, these are models. This is the NWS model blend of snowfall. Do not take them and go plastering them all over the internet with oh my, the world's ending. Okay, I will put this up here. This is key right here. Whoops. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's right here. Never mind. This is key right here. This point right there. Rely on dependable sources of weather information. The second key part is weather forecasts can change frequently. The third point is we are going to have to focus on impacts here. And when I talk about impacts, I will go to WPC's probabilistic impact page. And here are the moderate impacts percentage for Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. And here's Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. You can see an increased threat of moderate impacts across Virginia and North Carolina, and extending all the way up into portions of Maryland and Delaware. So the National Weather Service's, what we call the NBM, looks to me to be trending toward the European a little bit more than the GFS as far as impacts go. So that means a little more precipitation to the north. Again, things can change as we go forward. But this gives us an idea this far out of what we're looking at potentially. So again, I will stress, remember number 5. It is key. When you look at Twitter and Facebook and social media, rely on dependable weather sources for your information, and continue to check those sources as we go through this week. So let's see where we go from here. That's about all I have to say this afternoon. There's quite a bit that will happen by the end of the week. Here's the temperatures, by the way, for this week. By the end of the week, the mildest day is Thursday, and then it trends down Friday, and it's really cold this weekend with temperatures only in the 20s for a lot of the mid-Atlantic, maybe teens in Pennsylvania by Saturday and Sunday. Well below normal. We're talking over 20 degrees below normal for maximum temperatures. And as we head into Monday, it doesn't really change much as far as the cold goes. So exceptionally cold weather looks to be coming. A potential winter storm looks to be coming this weekend. Exact details are unknown at this time. So the winter weather outlook that I have here looks like that. There will be plenty of that going on this week with meteorologists checking out this storm and trying to forecast it. So we need to hang on and take it slowly and think about how we're going to approach this as we head to the weekend. And my final thoughts are, for Saturday and Sunday, the pink, snow, sleet, freezing, rain, all of them are on the table across southern Virginia into North Carolina. The farther north, from Richmond north, precipitation should be primarily snow if it does occur. And like I say here on the graphic, a north storm track favors more ice in the south, meaning into southern Virginia and across North Carolina. More snow to the north. That would mean farther to the north, D.C., maybe to Philadelphia, Harrisburg. A more southern track of the storm. Less ice, more snow to the south. Less snow to the north. It's complicated, I know, but we'll get through it. And this week should be an interesting adventure, and we'll see how it goes. So, an unusual, this again, I want to stress this is an unusual weather pattern for a phase 6. We should be progressing into a warm weather pattern right now. And then as it shifts to colder this weekend, we do see the colder phase play into this. But right now, it should be pretty mild outside in a lot of places in the eastern part and central part of the United States. And I want to stress number 3 item here. There is a major winter storm threat in southern southeast U.S., mid-Atlantic, beginning late this week, but it's mostly concentrated on the weekend. Does it begin earlier on Saturday? Does it hold off till later Saturday and continue most of Sunday? Those details will have to be fine-tuned the next few days. And any storm, especially in the south, causes significant travel disruptions. So, so we'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, again, I will try to get back here in the next couple of days and try to fine-tune this a little more. But it does look like we need to pay attention to this weekend coming up. So that's it for now, and hopefully I will get back to you in the next couple of days. And but just try to enjoy the weather we got this week. It's going to be quiet for the most part, and a little bit of milder weather by Thursday to at least get us ready for what may happen this weekend. So that's it, and I will talk to you next time.